You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. The Options Insider Radio Network is sponsored by Fidelity Investments. Fidelity's Option Trade Builder tool can help you confidently build an options trade in 3 simple steps. Just choose a strategy, select a contract, and then review the benefits and risks of the trade. Learn more about Option Trade Builder at fidelity.com/options. Options trading entails significant risk and is not appropriate for all investors. Certain complex option strategies carry additional risk. Before trading options, contact Fidelity Investments by calling 800-544-5115 to receive a copy of the characteristics and risks of standardized options. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
Join us now for the expert source for inside information on the options markets. It's time for Options Insider Radio with your host, Mark Longo.
All right, everybody. That music means it's time once again for Options Insider Radio, the interview program here on the old network where we welcome on guests from throughout the world of options and derivatives and proceed to pick their brains for the benefit of you, the listener. And next up on our ongoing FIA roundtables, everyone's rotating through the studio the next week or so as the whole industry is in town for the Futures Industry Association Expo. I'm pleased to say another first-timer in the studio, but an old friend of the network. He is the Flowmaster himself, Mr. Henry Schwartz of Trade Alert and What's Trading fame / infamy. Mr. Flowmaster, welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you, Mark. It is amazing to actually be in the place I've heard about.
You didn't believe it existed. You thought it was just a figment of a fever dream, and now you are here, sir.
I thought it was like maybe a closet in your house or something, but it is a beautiful, lush studio with a green room and the whole thing.
Yes, the whole thing, the whole green. We like kind of the old school Chicago ambiance that it gives us. Being in an old kind of Burnham building from a few hundred odd years ago is kind of a nice kind of old Chicago feel to it. For audio, it's kind of nice because it keeps all the distractions at bay. You know, a bomb could go off on the river out there. We would never know because we're deeply ensconced here in the bowels of things. But I know you're here in town for the FIA Expo. Let's start there, sir. What brings you to town? Are you just kind of scouting out the expo, or what brings you here today?
I am entirely scouting things out. I like to come to the expo and kind of see what people are working on, see really what trends are happening because, you know, as you know, these markets evolve very quickly. And, you know, we're always trying to keep ourselves competitive and relevant. And I like to come and see what interesting ideas are out there.
And I mean, obviously, for a vendor like you, it must be extra interesting because this is one of the biggest vendor exhibitor shows pretty much of the year. Everyone is here, whether from its international exchanges to other analytics platforms to, I'm guessing, a lot of crypto. I haven't been down there yet this year. I'm guessing a little bit of that as well. Any interesting themes you're seeing emerging from this year's show?
Well, there definitely was more crypto than I expected and more hardware. There were a lot of server companies there selling.
The guys have the server racks out there and the FPGAs and all that,
exactly.
All that fun stuff.
The fans in the boxes and the chips and there's a lot of that. I mean, it's an important piece of the business nowadays. You know, even not even just in the high frequency side, but just kind of handling the kind of spikes in market data like we saw last week, which was near records.
I don't know what you're talking about. What happened last week? I was on extended vacation. Now, obviously, this past week has been a little bit of a mini crazy town. Not quite February VIX-Ocalypse levels, but pretty close in terms of what we saw. Pronounced protracted sell-offs in the market. Obviously, protracted upside in VIX land. As we're recording this, the market's kind of settling out, kind of mixed on the day here, with the Dow off a bit, the S&P unched, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ up slightly on the day. VIX cash taking a little bit of a breather off about a quarter of a handle, but still, obviously, you guys at Trade Alert and What's Trading are knee-deep in all the flow. You saw a lot of flow over the past week and change. What kind of really caught your eye? What maybe surprised you from all the just explosion of volume we saw over the past week or so?
Well, it was the second busiest week of the year last week, and the first busiest week and the busiest week in history for the business was February 5th. It was definitely, it had a different feel to it. I think February 5th, we had the VIX products imploding, and that created a lot of, very freaky dynamics that kind of spooked some people. This time it felt a little bit more orderly. I think it helps that the market's, been on a tear. So you get a 2, 3, 4%, sell off, and people are still kind of going, well, wait, that just puts us back to where we were in June. So it didn't seem to have the panic. I'll tell you, I was talking to I saw a presentation by Jared Woodard, who's the chief strategist at Merrill.
So you went to the Option Metrics event?
I did.
He's now a keynote speaker, our old buddy Jared. Look how he's moving up in the world.
I know, from Condor
I knew
Options.
him when.
That's right. But he's going to get mad if he listens to this. So Option Metrics was on.
I've already teased him about it, so it's okay.
Okay. It was on Monday, and obviously, this little mini vol explosion we've had was last week. The title of his talk was 4 Catalysts for Higher Volatility.
That's like all the presentations like an RMC and stuff. They used to be all about harvesting the risk premium going into February and coming out of February, and all of a sudden that trade wasn't as sexy when everyone just got blown out a couple of weeks before. So yeah, timing sometimes is everything when you're talking about research in this space. Well, give us a little taste of what it's been like for you guys on your platform. Obviously, a lot of stuff's been hitting your platform. You guys deal with a lot of institutional clientele, but also retail on the West Trading side. What kind of inquiries are you getting? Are people flocking to a platform like yours right now? Is this causing a big boon in demand for analytics and the kind of services you offer? Or are people more terrified and just heading for the hills? What kind of stuff are you seeing out there?
Well, it's been a very good year for us, and I think some of that is coming from when you have it's not what it was in 2016, right? Volatility is no longer in the single digits. And when volatility is higher, there's a lot more strategies that make money. On top of that, the market has been very strong, so a lot of people are sitting on gains that they've just made kind of on the long side. So we've seen more interest, more activity. You get that balance. Now you can make money being long options, which is nice for a change. And then you also have people shorting and overriding and premium selling because you have some pretty extreme cases, things like Tesla and Telray, where that's pulling in activity too. So it just seems like a more diverse type of, a diverse assortment of flow that we're seeing. And that's good for us because, people rely on us to help them make sense of it all. And people come to us, as a tool that they're going to use to trade, whether it's from the long side on premium, the short side, trading spreads, all of that.
I imagine this has been a bit of a shot in the arm for you guys, just because as the industry as a whole, because right, vol's back, people are trading. Look at volumes this year; they're off the charts. People are probably coming back to the option space and trading it more aggressively and doing more volume now, and realizing they probably need a little bit better in terms of their flow metrics and analytics and things. I'd imagine, this year versus, like you said, 2016, 2017, a little bit different prospect for you guys over there at Trade Alert. Maybe you had to be out there. I know we were certainly shaking your cup a little bit more to say, hey, look, options are still cool and still fun, even though there's no vol anywhere and no volume to be found. So probably a little bit different scenario for you guys this year.
Well, that's true. I mean, almost everybody that we work with makes money off of volume and volatility. And when you had neither, when volume was kind of flat and volatility was at multi-century lows, that was tough. But I mean, and you saw the consolidation. You saw Timber Hill get out of the market making business, or at least get sold to Two Sigma. You saw Goldman just shut down. And you kind of have to wonder. I mean, the business is basically turned around. I mean, there is plenty of volatility. I wouldn't say the market making business is easy because it's still, a challenging market and a very expensive operation that you have to run to do it. But they're making the money that they haven't made for probably 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing that anecdotally. People coming through the studio here at a show like this or just on the network over time. We're hearing a lot of, you're right, similar stories that things are not quite what they used to be, but certainly better than they have been maybe in quite some time. Speaking of better, you guys are always cranking away on the platform over there in Trade Alert Land, always adding cool new features. Every time I fire it up, there's some cool new bell or whistle, or literally a bell or whistle when there's noises on the platform, which I do like. Even though I have to turn them off for all the shows, but I do like the little, what is it, like a lightsaber kind of laser noise you guys have when the flow goes. I do like that. But you guys are always working on cool stuff. So what's new since the last time I chatted with you? I'm sure it's a lot over there at Trade Alert.
So we really have done some pretty wild things in the last couple months, and you noticed it on the last time you launched the system. In general, we do alerts and recaps of market activity. That's what we do, and that's what we've done for the last 12 years. We've basically taken that a really big step further in now when we deliver these recaps of data, you get a one-click link to 500 rows of the same data set. So instead of looking at the top 10 trades in Tesla, you have one click away to 500 rows. And what's wild about that is it works even in the more kind of sophisticated queries that you can do in our system. So if you're one of these traders who says, okay, here's what I care about. I want out-of-the-money call buyers, exceeding the open interest with a days to expiration, say of 30 to 60, and price above theoretical value, and my sweet spot is options between 50 and 80 cents in price. You can do that query, and then you get the top 10 trades, and you could kind of page through them, but you can also just do an instant link to 500 rows of that data. And then you can actually say, and I want this to hit my inbox, my email every day at 2 o'clock. And it works. And it's really very, very cool, and it works for all the data sets that we power. So largest open interest changes. I know you love the Tesla open interest, especially that 50 strike.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And you can basically say, okay, I want to see the dynamics of that downside open interest in Tesla on a daily basis without having to lift my finger. You run the query, you say, yeah, you know what, show me the open interest changes in Tesla where the strike is under 100, and schedule it every day for 4 o'clock, and they'll show up. So what's really kind of wild is we used to do this through, kind of an old-fashioned link from that little, real-time window to the web page, and this is basically replacing the web page entirely. It's letting us get rid of kind of the old-fashioned drop-down boxes. Show me the top 500 trades where put call equals call, yada yada. That was always limited in flexibility because you don't want to have a dialogue with like 40 drop-down boxes. And now you can basically say, here's the query I want to see, and there's no restriction on what you can do with it in terms of the where clauses on that query effectively. So
one of the things I like is that you guys have added. I like the little quality of life tweaks that you guys keep making over there. For example, we do a lot, obviously, in products like VIX when shows like Volatility Views come along. So the fact that I don't have to type .VIX every time, that has saved me countless hours of frustration. So I thank you for that, sir, which has been a good tweak. No, it would be an awesome upgrade. I'm going to do feature requests for you live here on the show, sir. Is when we obviously have a very unique use case for what we do. I'm sure a lot of people out there who have similar mindsets to us when we're doing a lot of searches for trades, trying to match up legs. Is there a way to sort them by time code so you can say, hey, because we do the volume now. Is there a way to say, because we can look exactly what was printing at the same time? Is that on there on the? Am I missing that function?
You could do that in a time query. You basically say, show me the recent trades in Tesla where size is over 1,000, and it will line them up in time. But we also are just assembling the legs of the spreads into spreads. So you don't have to worry about the timestamps anymore. The system.
Oh, you are doing that.
Yeah.
That was my next question.
It's there. If it's there. If you go in fact, not only will it say, okay, here's all the spreads in Tesla or in technology or whatever, you can say, okay, fine, show me all the verticals in Apple today, and it'll lay them out. So it works for every spread you can think of, butterflies, calendars, diagonals, ratios. It gets a little bit hung up in like 6 ways. And there are plenty of unknown spreads. And the truth is that's a growing piece of the business too. So that's an interesting challenge for us to figure out, okay, what are we supposed to do with these spreads that are funky ratios with 5 parts? But putting together simple spreads, especially, and I can show you the stats, but about 70% of the spread volume is verticals anyway. That's the most common strategy. The system just spits them out as units.
Well, that's great. I was going to say, I like to do the work, but it's even easier if you guys can do the work for me. So that's all these quality of life changes. I love it. This is good stuff. What else is kind of percolating? What else is top of mind? Everyone and their mother has been rotating through here for the last 6 to 8 months, and the network has just been talking my ear off about crypto, sir. I'm sure you're hearing it as well. You got any plans in the Trade Alert family to start diving into the crazy world of crypto, sir?
We do actually assemble, and we have a little bit of data on cryptos that we source from GDAX. The crypto space is kind of a funky situation for data because data is actually free. Unlike exchange data, Opera and NASDAQ and NYSE data, that data is actually expensive to get. But the crypto data is crazy fragmented too, right? There's you've got basically an unknown number of exchanges. You have the big ones that everybody knows about, Coinbase and GDAX and Poloniex and all these things. But there's also all these random little exchanges. Anybody can start a crypto exchange. There's no regulation outside of the U.S. So I'm not too sure yet what value we can add to that data because it's definitely a big animal to work with. We are processing VIX futures data and pulling that into, and that actually can be nice because one of the things we do with like the complex order assembly is we also assemble trades that are tied to stock. So VIX futures are the underlying, the true underlying for the VIX options. So we're able to kind of assemble things that way as well. So it's the future space obviously is an area of growth for us. So we're looking at what else we can do from the big futures exchanges.
And we tying up to CME or ICE one of these days here over there in Trade Alert land?
We're very closely looking at those.
I have heard some rumors to that effect, sir. Nothing escapes my eye over here, or my ear in this case here on the desk. I hear all these rumors coming across my way here. But yeah, so futures options, maybe a little bit of crypto, all these cool platform tweaks. I think last time you were on, but back a while, you talking about 13F. You guys are doing a lot of cool stuff in that space. Sounds like you guys have been fairly busy of late there in Trade Alert, and indeed, what's trading land, sir?
Well, you can't rest. I mean, if you chill out for a few weeks, somebody else will kind of surpass you, and it's never done. I mean, the market keeps evolving. The other thing that you notice were the custom buttons that you can basically you can take any command that our system will support, which is not just big trades, but big trades with a whole bunch of restrictions on it to help you zoom in on the kind of trades you want. And you turn that into a shortcut, and the shortcut is a button. And then all of a sudden, like what I made for you, and what I'm happy to make for anybody that asks is show me those odd block trades. Show me the doom trades, the deep out of the money put buyers, because those are what I care about on a regular basis. And you can just set up shortcuts. So you're right in terms of quality of life. We're all about just trying to make it easier. You don't even have to type a ticker. You can type Apple, the word Apple, and the system will go dig it out. So we're trying to make it as easy as we can.
Look at you modernizing things for our convenience, sir. What a mensch you are, sir. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool functionality, and also so if people maybe if the main Trade Alert is too much for them to bite off, you also have a lot of cool stuff over there at What's Trading, right? So walk us through a little bit of what tweaks you're making on that side of the fence.
We do. So our Option Alert Flow Monitor has been our institutional product for over a decade. We have a light version that is more at a lower price point that retail likes and active traders like. That's about half the price. And then at a lower price point, we have What's Trading, which is some tools for people that are not trying to trade in real-time flow as much as understand what's going on in the market, do some research, and then pick their trades from there. So we continue to improve all of them, and evolve things. And we're happy to set people up, and there's free trials available for everything. So
yeah, I'm looking at it right now. You guys have really added a lot of data. If you go to whatstrading.com, listeners, you can see it for yourself. A lot of great data there. Bearish activity in all securities, bullish, most active ETFs and options and things. Great little articles. I know you're putting up some flow alerts. You got your team Fred in there putting up some great creative stuff over there. So definitely check it out if you haven't already, there, listeners, at whatstrading.com. And of course, if you want the big mothership, the full enchilada, Trade Alerts is a place. You can even type in Apple now. Look at you, sir, just making things so easy, so readily accessible. So we talked crypto, we talked FIA, we talked all the new features, futures, options, and futures maybe coming your way sometime in the near future. Anything else you want to leave us with? Any little hints, any little teases for what to look forward to in Trade Alert land the coming months, sir?
No, I think that's about it. That's going to keep us busy for the rest of the year. Like I said, kind of migrating off of this old framework where we had our alert window and a web page into a much more unified functionality is really exciting. To me, the biggest thing about this year is it is an incredible jump in volume for the industry. I mean, for the equity index and ETF options, I personally think we will hit 5 billion contracts. We're teetering on that level, but the way that this market's been behaving, where we're getting nice 2% moves on a regular basis, that will push us over. I think it'll be a 5 billion contract year, which is a giant jump from last year.
That is crazy. You're right. So it seemed like we had that big pop in February, then we're still doing well, but not blowing the doors off. And it seemed like so much of the gains of the year would just kind of trace back to that crazy February period. And now you're right, we're getting another nice little shot in the arm from a volume and vol perspective over the last week or so. So yeah, maybe this can't continue, but if something can't be moving 2% a day in the major indices throughout the rest of the year, that would be certainly something interesting. But something along these lines to at least kind of keep a little bit of the volume there. Then you're right, we are threatening those levels. And before we go to, I know you mentioned kind of the structural thing. I know you're kind of Mr. State of the options industry as well. You do kind of the update for the OIC conference and things like that. So you're always kind of keeping an eye on the 10,000 foot level structural perspective of the option space, which names are doing the most percentages of the volume, what's going on, auctions, all these crazy things. Anything kind of resonating with you recently in that space that's kind of interest since the last time you kind of sat down at the OIC conference back in May and really kind of broke it down for everybody?
I think that there's still a lot of attention on capital treatment for market makers. That was, the big topic in Florida last time. That hasn't actually improved much. And the liquidity, and the displayed liquidity is still a challenge. I mean, we're updating our data right now, but my basic feeling is that it hasn't gotten any better. You have this concentration, you have these hyper liquid products like Apple and SPY, and then, as soon as you get down to, out of that top 50 or 100 names, it becomes kind of a dealer's market where the dealers, the banks will make nice tight markets. But, for Joe Retail to look at the screen and see a market that's $2 at $3 in a pretty liquid stock, that's a turnoff. Even if, in many cases they will get price improved right to that, 245, 255 zone. That dynamic where you have to trust that that's going to happen when you put it in your market order is not a comfortable trading situation for too many people.
No, you're right. And that's something, hopefully we'll see a little bit of reversal, maybe a little bit more volume coming into the space, and volatility will lead to some other names lighting it up outside of maybe, who knows, maybe crypto. I'm hearing, Henry, that crypto is the answer to all of our problems. I don't know if you've heard that, but it's the panacea for all our ills here in the options world. But you're right, we still are seeing that concentration of liquidity, and it doesn't seem like there's anything slowing that down, at least any time in the near future. Well, let's not end it on a down note. so let's instead say go over and check out, of course, if you like all these cool features of the quality of life stuff, tracking the spreads, you want to just type in Apple and get all the data. You don't need to type in the ticker symbol. He got you covered over there. TradeAlert.com or indeed whatstrading.com. Kick the tires and light the fires, as they like to say. Henry, I'm great to finally get you here in the studio. I mean, you've been on a million times, but never in the actual studio. So now you can see all the shows you listen to are all coming from here. And we'll look forward to seeing you maybe again in your next go-through here in Chicago, sir.
Right. Well, thank you for having me, Mark. It's been awesome.
It has been awesome. And hopefully it's been awesome for you guys out there listening to all of our content from FIA. Stay tuned to the network because there's more shows hitting the feed really soon.
The
preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions@theoptionsinsider.com.